group of amazing women come out to build for Habitat. So thanks for being here today. I get to introduce another really amazing woman who's going to be our keynote speaker today. Satana DeBerry is currently the executive director of the North Carolina Housing Coalition, and she's also the senior vice president of the North Carolina Community Development Initiative. For those of you who don't know, the North Carolina Housing Coalition was created back in 1988 by advocates for affordable housing, and it was instrumental in the creation of the North Carolina Housing Trust Fund, which remains today as a cornerstone of North Carolina's affordable housing options, and which we have used on these three houses, actually. So really, really important to Habitat's growth across the state. And it's also continuing to be one of the coalition's priorities. It's a little bit about Satana. She's a native of Hamlet, North Carolina, and she graduated from Princeton University. That's where she got her BA, and also Duke, where she got both her MBA and JD. And in addition to these very impressive credentials, she brings nearly 2 decades of experience in policy, regulatory, governmental, administrative, human resource, and contractual and legal matters. She's worked for the Annie E. Casey Foundation in Washington, D.C., the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, and Durham Self-Help Credit Union. And I actually got to meet and get to know Satana back in 2011 when she was the interim director for Durham Habitat for Humanity and did a great job there. So I'm really thrilled that she could be with us today. We're really privileged to have her. So give a warm welcome to Satana DeBerry.
Before I start, I just want to get off my chest that my raffle tickets blew away. And so, okay, now I know, and I won something. I don't know. But anyway, I want to thank Susan and Savannah for inviting me to speak here today. Women Build is particularly close to my heart because I've been involved now with the Habitat movement for something years, since I worked on Habitat houses in high school. And Women Build is important not just because it started here in North Carolina, and not just because it's branded and you get special shirts and whatever. It's because of all the programs that Habitat runs. Women Build really focuses on the transformative nature of affordable home ownership. And that's especially true here in a place like Orange County, where the average home price is $273,000. And where a single female-headed household median income is $23,000. So it's a huge gap between what you make and what you can afford. And we know that for kids, homeownership is important, right? And so let me tell you, homeownership is important. So I believe Women Build is 26 years old now. So let me take you back 26 years. And I want you all to imagine that you're in a small town in North Carolina. You turn into a neighborhood, and all the houses are in fairly large lots. They're all different styles, differently built. And you go to the back of this neighborhood, and in the clearing, you will see a tri-level house with a circular driveway. It's partially bricked. It's like a 1970s version of Shangri-La, right? That is 401 Forest Lane in Hamlet, North Carolina. That's my parents' home. And so my parents built this home. It was their dream house. I mean, I remember when they were picking doorknobs, right? Everything had to be exactly what they wanted. And they built it with, my father had been to Vietnam, and so they built it with the VA home. And so it was their place. And so if you'd come up there on a day like today, 26 years ago, you might have seen my mother and my sisters on the porch. They might have been heading off to church or to volunteer or to do, pretty much anything. My brother would have already been gone to a track meet somewhere. My father would have been in the backyard working on his truck or cooking turtle soup We're doing something equally weird, right? In the background. Whatever, sister, you can do whatever you want to do. Right? But you wouldn't see me there. Because I was already gone. And was sitting somewhere in the grassy courtyard in central New Jersey preparing for exams. If you're taking a picture of that house that day, if you fast forward to the day, you probably wouldn't recognize the picture. You wouldn't know when it was taken. It would have been taken, you know, a regular day for no reason. That picture would have been wildly significant. Let me tell you why. Right? And that picture would have represented promise of home. And so you would have looked at that picture, and what you would know is that you still have the picture. I can put my hands on that actual picture right now. And part of the reason I can put my hands on that actual picture is that because, you know, when you live in a house, you get to keep things. Right? But when you're a kid who doesn't have a safe, decent, affordable place to live, you lose a lot of things. Right? You lose self-confidence. You lose a sense of opportunity. And you lose those little tangible things that make your life, right? Like baby pictures. And when I went to get that picture, I would have been able to also find my first grade report card and my daddy's draft card from Vietnam and all the little furniture that my mother had for her little doll houses that she collected in anticipation of granddaughters. Those are the things that make your life. And when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and I went to get that picture, I thought, oh, I can actually show them this picture on my phone, right? This picture's digitized. Now I know you're like, kind of why is that important, right? Well, let's go back to why I'm not in the picture 26 years ago, right? I'm in college. And I didn't just get to college in my parents' car that fall. I caught a ride years before in their house, right? So it was years of doing homework at the same dining room table. Years of being picked up by the bus at the same bus stop. Having school supplies, knowing where those school supplies were. Being able to take out a library book and have the local librarian hunt me down because I wasn't returning it in time because she knew where I lived. Right? It was all of those promises in that community that got me there. And so, over those 26 years, lots of things happened, right? We all grew up, right? We all moved away, we all moved back. You know, Jim Johnson at UNC, he talks about boomerang crumb snatchers. There may be some of you here, right? We moved back to your parents' house. We moved back. Our parents got older. Our parents passed away. When they passed away, they were residents of that house. And what was really important was the day that my mother died, when the hospice nurse, when she died in her own bed, in her own home, a hospice nurse called the undertaker. And he didn't even need an address. He knew where to go. And I know for you that sounds sad. But really what that sounds like is community. It's the promise that you will always be there. The promise that people will know how to find you. The promise that kids like, where's Rasheen? Right? Rasheen was up here playing on the porch when I got here. It's the promise that kids like Rasheen can get to their own grassy courtyard somewhere. And that's what you're providing here today for all these families. And I want to thank you, and I want to talk about the real reason you're here. It's people like Miss Powell and her kids, and Miss Watson and her kids. They will always have the North Side. Wherever they go in the world, they'll always have this place. And you provided that to them. So thank you.